What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another video. I'm actually really excited for today's topic because it's something that I've been learning a lot about and I've been coming to a lot of realizations about, so I'm actually really excited to speak on it and share with you guys my experiences, my realizations, and just overall advice on this topic. Also, I don't know if you guys can hear the cars outside my apartment. If you can, I'm sorry. Some of them are really loud. It's just unfortunate. I've already closed all the windows and everything, but you might still hear them. It's whatever at this point. I didn't really feel like filming in my car today, so we're here. Basically, today's video is going to be about taking yourself seriously and also how to get other people to take you seriously. This is something I've been learning a lot about within the past year or so, I would say. I'm going to be sharing a little bit of my personal experiences and just what I've learned through those experiences. The first thing I want to touch base on is your love life, okay? This is going to tie in with your love life, but also platonic relationships as well, okay? It could apply to both. I want to speak on boundaries when it comes to relationships in your love life or platonically, okay? I want to speak on how boundaries are very important, but not only having boundaries, but standing by those boundaries, continuing to set those boundaries and stand by them, right? So it's one thing to say oh, I have this boundary. It's one thing to say something to somebody and be I don't want to do XYZ, okay? Or saying this is my boundary, all right? And telling that person your boundary. But it's a whole other thing to tell that person your boundary and then stand by it. Okay, for example, if you set a boundary with somebody, if you tell them, hey, listen, this is my boundary. You tell them XYZ, right? You tell them these things, right? You tell them these things that you don't want to do, that you do want to do, whatever it may be. You tell them how you're feeling, right? You set some sort of boundary, right? And you tell this person, whoever this is, this boundary, right? So this person, they're going to look at that boundary and they probably will take it seriously at first. They're probably going to look at the boundary and they're probably going to think, okay, this person has a boundary, I respect it. First of all, if this person doesn't respect your boundary, get out of there. You know what I mean? If somebody doesn't respect your boundary, especially if this is somebody that you barely even know, immediately I just wouldn't continue that relationship, whether it be a romantic or platonic relationship. That's a red flag just in general. If somebody is not respecting your boundaries, your feelings, however you want to express yourself, however you feel, right? So anyways, say for example, right, you set this boundary, this person most likely is going to take this seriously at first. This person is going to think, okay, this is how this person feels. This is what this person wants to do or doesn't want to do. This is this person's boundary. This person is going to look at the boundary that you set and they're going to think, okay, right? They're going to accept what you said and they're going to take it as truth. I'm going to talk about two different routes you could go down with that. You could go down the route of setting that boundary and then continuing to stand by it. Continuing to, even though given opportunities to cross that boundary, even though given opportunities to go against yourself, you still stand by that boundary. Because remember, it's not only a boundary with that person, it's also a boundary with yourself. It's also a boundary that you set with yourself, right? So you're crossing yourself, you're abandoning yourself whenever you cross a boundary that you set, whether it be with somebody else or you. If it's with somebody else, it's also with you, okay? So if you go down the path of continuing to stand by that, this person and also therefore you are going to take you seriously. You're going to take you seriously because you continue to prove to yourself, I'm going to stand by what I say. And so this person is also therefore going to take you seriously because they see, okay, this person means what they say. This person said XYZ and they're continuing to stand by it. This person is somebody who has self-respect. This person is somebody that takes themselves seriously. And when this person sees this, they are going to take you seriously and they are going to respect you because you respect yourself, because you're showing them, I have respect for myself. You're showing them time and time again that no matter what opportunities you have to cross that boundary, you're continuing to stand by the boundary that you set however long ago it was, right? So this person is realizing, wow, this person doesn't play. This person is realizing, wow, you don't play. That's the one route that you could take. The other route you could take is the route where you set this boundary and you're given an opportunity to cross this boundary, whatever it may be, right? There's so many different scenarios with this, but say for example, you set a boundary I don't want to drink for a month, okay? And you have a friend that you really like to go out with or they really like to go out with you, but you tell them, I don't want to drink for a month, for a whole month. And you tell them that, and this is a goal of yours. This is a boundary that you set, not only with yourself, but with them. You said to them, I don't want to drink for a whole month. This is something that you may want to take seriously. But don't expect somebody else to take that seriously, that boundary seriously, if you choose to not take it seriously, okay? Say, for example, this person a week later, and this isn't always on this person. This is what I'm saying. It is up to you guys to prove to people that you are somebody worth taking seriously. This doesn't necessarily mean that this person is a bad person, that they're a toxic friend, okay? But say, for example, they're out one weekend, they're having a blast, they're drinking, right? They got a good buzz going on, they're with all the other friends that you like hanging out with. They have this connection to you where they're like, oh my God, it would be so much better if so-and-so was here. It would be so fun if so-and-so was here. And I know they're not drinking for a month, but if they were here, it would just be so fun. And I miss them so much, right? So they could be coming from kind of a good place. It doesn't have to be any kind of ill intent or anything like that. This person could just want you to join in on a good time. And they know that you set that boundary, but at the same time, it's not up to them to take the boundary seriously. This is something that is up to you. And this is something I've been really learning a lot recently. You can't put the blame on other people for you not taking your boundary seriously, because it's not their fault. It's not their fault that you chose to not take a boundary seriously. That was your choice. That was your doing. And you have to hold yourself accountable when it comes to these sorts of things, because 9 times out of 10, nobody's gonna force you to do anything. People are gonna try to persuade you. People are gonna innocently call you and be like, hey, oh my God, we're out, we're having a good time. I know you said you weren't drinking for a month, but come out, we miss you so much. Just come out this one night. They might say that, and they might be coming from an innocent place. So it's not on this person, it's not on other people, it's on you. And you need to realize that. At the end of the day, it is always you and you. And I'm also gonna add that a lot of times when we are mad at other people, it's because we're actually mad at ourselves for acting in the way that we did, and that person was involved in us doing something that we are not forgiving ourselves for, okay? So if you did something, if you crossed a boundary that you didn't want to cross, and somebody else was involved, right? Somebody else was in that situation, we like to put all of the blame on that person, but it's not entirely their fault. Just because this person called you and said, hey, we're out, we want you to have fun with us, we want you to come drink, even though you're not drinking for a month, just because that person called you, that doesn't mean they're the person that drove to the bar. That doesn't mean that they're the person that decided to put on their clothes and go out that night. That doesn't mean that they were the person that ordered the drink, because they weren't. You were. And you like to put the blame on other people, right? That's how we are as human beings. We don't like to take accountability for a lot of the stuff that we do, because we don't want to face ourselves and admit that we did ourselves dirty, that you did yourself dirty. So it comes down to that. Because when we put the blame on other people, we don't got to deal with it. It's like, oh, it was so-and-so's fault, you know? So all I got to do is just get them out of my life. All I got to do is push them away, blame them, do whatever, problem solved. But the problem is not solved. You're going to keep repeating that pattern, keep repeating that cycle until you realize that you are the problem. And I'm not saying that to try and like attack anybody. There are certain cases where you are not fully the problem, okay? I'm not saying that. There are people that get involved, that persuade, that manipulate, that gaslight, that do these things to us, right? But you have to remember that you were also a part of the picture, that you were also a part of that whole entire situation, that you also played a major role in whatever it is that happened, in whatever it is that you decided to do. And you can't constantly be blaming other people for this, right? And we like to blame other people because when we blame other people, we don't have to look at ourselves, and we don't have to look at why we abandoned ourselves, why we weren't respecting ourselves, why we weren't taking ourselves seriously. We don't want to look at that, because when we look at that, that might tie back to the fact that mom, dad left us when we were 6, 7 years old. That might tie back to the fact that we were bullied when we were in high school, and we don't want to go back to those feelings, to those emotions. We don't want to go back to the stuff that is causing us to have a bad relationship with ourselves. We don't want to go back to the fact that we used to get fat shamed, that we were neglected as a child. We don't want to go back to all of those negative emotions, those negative feelings. We don't want to admit that there's something wrong with us. And I'm not saying that there is anything wrong with you. I'm just saying that there could be a possible issue that you have inside of you that is causing you to act out in a specific way. And we like to put the blame on other people, like I was saying, because we don't want to look at whatever that issue is, okay? So going back to what I was saying, if this friend were to call you and be like, we're out tonight, we want you to come out, and you decide, I said I wasn't gonna drink for a month, but screw it. I'm gonna go anyway because they seem like they're having a good time. They seem like they're having a ball. And I know I said I wasn't gonna drink for a month, but this is gonna be a really good time. And you decide to do it anyway. Meanwhile, you have that feeling in your gut that you should not be doing that exact thing. And the reason why is because it's so important to keep your word to yourself. It's not even about the not drinking. This is something I'm so big on. It's not even about the not drinking. It's about you taking yourself seriously. It's about you respecting your word. It's about you respecting yourself. It's about you saying, I'm going to do XYZ, and then actually following through with it. Because if you actually follow through with it, you're going to prove to yourself that you are, one, capable of doing more than you possibly thought, and two, you're going to show yourself that you can trust yourself. And if you don't keep your word to yourself, you're not going to take yourself seriously. You're not going to trust yourself. And so other people are not going to take you seriously. Other people are not going to trust you completely. Because when these friends call you up and they say, oh, come out, and you decide to go out and you decide to cross that boundary that you set with yourself and them saying, I don't want to drink, and you decide to go out and do it anyway, you're slightly ruining the relationship that you have with yourself, and you're also showing these people that they can't take what you say seriously. If you were the type of person to always be like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna start going to the gym in a couple weeks, like I'm really gonna do it this time, right? And you say this constantly to your friends, right? Or to your family or whoever, people in your life. You say this, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna be getting back into the gym again. I'm gonna start that diet. You know what I mean? I'm gonna start eating healthy. Or you say like, oh, I'm leaving this toxic job. I'm gonna go look for a better job. You start saying, I'm really gonna like start working towards starting this business that I've wanted to start for like 2 years. You start saying this, right? And so say, for example, you're like, yeah, I'm really gonna start doing it. I'm really gonna go to the gym, you know, and you say this, but then in 2 weeks, you're still not doing any of it. And you're telling everybody this. Nobody's gonna take you seriously. Nobody's going to look at you and be like, oh yeah, that's a person that means what they say. That's a person that has self-respect. No, people are going to look at you and be like, they're just saying that. People are going to look at you and literally think whatever you say, you don't mean. Do you want people to think that whatever you say, you don't mean? Do you want people to think that whatever you say, it's not actually for real? And then it ties into, it's not only what you say, but it's just you as a person. They're not going to think you're for real. They're not going to think half the shit that you do is for real because you're not backing up your word. You're not acting in ways where it's like, oh yeah, I'm somebody that should be taken seriously. You're not holding yourself in that way. So therefore people are not going to take you seriously. It's not other people's fault that you're not taken seriously. It's your fault. And that's a really big thing that I've been learning. It's your fault. It's your fault because you cross your boundaries, because you don't act in a way where you're backing up what you say. You're not acting in a way where people feel like they should take you seriously. So it's not them, it's you. You're the problem. You're actually the problem. And that's something I've been realizing because I used to get so upset. I used to think like, why isn't this person taking me seriously? And that ties me into talking about that whole love situation that a lot of us deal with, right? Where we stick around somebody because we're hoping and waiting for them to take us for real. We're sticking around, continuing to cross our boundaries, continuing to stick around somebody that disrespects us, and then also at the same time expecting them to take us seriously? You can't expect somebody who's constantly disrespecting you, playing in your face, to take you seriously if you keep putting up with it, if you keep sticking around. The only way that person is going to take you seriously if you stand on business, if you leave and you stay away, if you don't go back to them, if you don't put up with their bullshit. That's the only way that person's going to take you seriously. You can't keep hanging out around somebody that doesn't want to commit to you, hoping and waiting for this person to commit to you, even though they told you they don't want commitment. They don't want anything serious with you. They want to play games with you, right? But for some reason, every time they call, you go running. You go running to them. That in itself right there, that shows you're not somebody to be taken seriously. Point blank period. Because you said you want something serious. You like this person, but this person's just playing games with you. This person's just playing in your face, right? But every time they call, you answer. Every time they text to hang out, you say, be right there. I don't know what to tell you. That's why nobody takes you seriously. That's why this person doesn't take you seriously. Because you're not showing them that you're somebody worth taking serious. You're showing them that they can play in your face and you'll still be around. Because you don't care. Because you are not respecting yourself enough. You're showing them that you are somebody that is willing to put up with disrespect. You're showing them that you are somebody that is okay with the fact that they play in your face. They'll play in your face and you'll hang out with them the next day. Like nothing ever happened. Like it's no big deal. Babe, you don't have respect for yourself. You don't have respect for yourself. And I know you might say, oh, but I have feelings for them so much. Oh, they said this and that. Oh, they said they're not ready and they're gonna work on things and yada yada. I don't care. I don't care, because what is that person doing right now? They're continuing to show you that they're not giving you enough, but you still keep coming around. You're still with them. Why is that? Because if you were somebody that actually respected yourself, that actually held yourself at a high standard, you would not be wasting your time with that person. There's a lot of times where people want to do all talk, where they want to say, oh yeah, we could get into a relationship in a few months when I'm ready. They want to say, oh yeah, but I'm going to just do XYZ first. They want to drag you along. That's all they're doing. I want you to look at people where they're at, and I want you to look at if where they are currently at in the present moment is worth your time. And if that person in the present moment that they are right now, if that person who they are right now is not worth your time right now, you don't have to be around them. It's not a waiting game, but that's what people want this to be. People want you to wait. People want to just keep you there. I'm telling you right now, you are worth more than a placeholder. You are worth more than just a person to be there. You are worth more than that. And this person or people are not going to know that you are worth more than that unless you show up as a person that acts in a way where you are knowing that you are worth more than that. So what does that person do, right? That person doesn't settle for less. That person doesn't let people play games in their face. That person acts accordingly when someone plays in their face. If someone lies to you, if someone betrays you, if someone manipulates you, if someone does some fucked up shit to you, you do not stay around. You do not stay around unless they genuinely messed up and they're genuinely apologizing and they're working. You see it in the present moment. It's not just all talk, right? You see it in the present moment. This person is actively trying to better themselves, actively trying to give you more, apologize, make amends, whatever it may be. Unless that is the case, this person is not worth being in your life, and you need to realize that and you need to act on that, because the longer you stay around, the less seriously you're going to be taken. So I'm just gonna be honest, right? I was in a situation where I wanted to be taken seriously, right? But I realized eventually that the reason why I wasn't being taken seriously was because I was basically being a pushover. You can't be a pushover. You can't be a pushover. And I don't care how many feelings you have for this person. I don't care what this person says, what this person does, where you're at in your life. I don't care what the circumstances are. That's really what it came to for me, where it was I literally thought at this point, it's not even about my feelings. It's not even about what I want in life. It's not even about this person, me. It's literally just about the fact that logically thinking about it, I literally just came to the conclusion that it's literally just about me acting in a way where I respect myself, and I took out all of the outside factors, the external factors. I took all of the external factors out, and I just said okay, well how would I act if I was somebody that respected myself? And that's what I've been doing. I've been acting as a person that has more respect for myself. I'm also gonna get into people taking you seriously when you're not as open. I've really learned that a lot as well. People take me more seriously when I'm not speaking as much, and that's actually a literal proven thing. People tend to take people more seriously when they are not as chatty, when they don't speak as much. I think it's because when you do speak, it holds more weight. There's more value to what you're saying because you're not just rambling on about everything and anything. You know what I'm saying? So when you do speak, people are drawn in because you're not always constantly speaking. You're not using all of your energy to just be saying all these different random things. People also take you seriously when you're selective with what you speak about. Because when you're selective about the things that you speak about, people realize that. People see that. And like I said, when you do speak, people know that there's a reason why you're speaking, and you're speaking for good reason. You know what I mean? If you're somebody that speaks only when you know you should be speaking, when the right time to speak up is, when the right time to share parts of yourself is. You know what I'm saying? I've learned a lot when it comes to opening up to people. I used to be very open. I used to be somebody that would just share everything and anything to everybody. And I learned really quickly that that's not a great idea because people will, for example, take things that you tell them. People will take certain past stories that you tell them, or certain weaknesses that you have, and people will take that and they'll use it against you. And you have to realize that privacy is power. You not telling things about yourself to people keeps you a mystery. It keeps parts of you hidden. And being hidden is a form of protection. You not speaking up about everything, that is a form of protection. You not being open about everything, that's a form of protection. Because when you're too open, people can figure you out way too well. And people are able to manipulate you well. People are able to use those things against you. Like I said, people are just able to figure you out. And when people can't figure you out, you remain a mystery. And like I said, it's protection. You also are just taken more seriously because people who have respect for themselves, people who know their worth, people who are taken seriously, they don't share all of their stuff. They're not open. They're not super trusting. Only trust people when you feel like they are worthy of your trust. Because I'm just gonna be real, not everybody is trustworthy. You know what I mean? So it's just really important to be selective about who you're trusting, be selective about what you're sharing, you know? And yeah. Okay, so like another big thing that I want to talk about is just like speaking up for yourself. I used to be such a pushover, you guys, and I used to not talk. Like I literally used to be so shy. I used to be so easily manipulated. People used to be able to gaslight me really well. I was so easily like controlled. I think just like the way I grew up and a lot of the things I experienced growing up, it formed me to be somebody that was literally just a people pleaser, was a pushover, and I've really transformed as a person. I don't let people tell me what to do. I don't let people control me in my life. I have control over my own life. You know what I mean? I do whatever I want and I speak up for myself, right? And so when you speak up for yourself, that is you demanding respect. That is you telling people, no, you're gonna respect me. It doesn't matter who it is. I don't care anymore. Like I'm really at the point in my life where like I don't care if you're like the scariest motherfucker. You're not gonna disrespect me. If it comes to a matter of like my life being in danger, that's one thing. But if it's somebody that like maybe is very like confident, outspoken, they're intimidating, whatever, basically I just like don't care who it is, because at the end of the day, like I know that like me being respected is one of the most important things. And it's not even an ego thing. It's not an ego thing at all. I want to be respected because when I'm respected, I live a better life. I live a better life. You live a better life and you feel better when other people respect you and when other people take you seriously, because people don't play in your face. People don't make jokes about you to you. People don't make fun of you because they know you're not one to be with, because they know that if they do you wrong, if they do cross you, you're gonna do something about it. And you need to show people that. You need to show people that you are somebody who's gonna do something about it. When something happens to you, if somebody disrespects you, you have to speak up. You have to take action, because if you don't, you're gonna continue to get played with your entire life, and people are gonna use you, people are gonna manipulate you, people are gonna abuse you. That's not something you should want to deal with. That's not something you should be putting up with. So when somebody disrespects you, I want you to speak up. And like I was saying, I used to be somebody that would just take it. I was somebody that honestly didn't even know that I could speak up. That was like a really big thing. Like I didn't even know that was an option. And I think that's a really big thing of like how I was like raised as a woman, like how I was raised being a female. I think a lot of us as women, we're taught to be silenced, you know? And it doesn't have to be just women, okay? But I think a lot of women do struggle with this. A lot of women do struggle with, no, you're not really allowed to say what's on your mind. You're not allowed to have an opinion. You're not allowed to speak up. You're not allowed to be confident. For example, I was literally just talking with my friend, just like about like a certain situation we were dealing with. We were literally saying how we're both very confident women. And there's a certain situation that her and I dealt with where other men were involved, right? And we were like, we just don't understand why they perceive us as like a problem, or us as flirtatious, or us as just like all these like weird things, you know what I mean? When we're not that. We're not messy, we're professional, we're smart, we're mature, we're like all these positive things. But for some reason, these men were viewing us as messy, flirtatious, like they just didn't have much respect for us in a sense. They just viewed us in a skewed way. And so we were talking about this and my roommate chimed in and she was like, I think it's because you guys are confident. And I said to her, I was like, you really hit the nail on the head with that one, I feel. I feel as though when a lot of women are confident, it's sometimes so foreign to men because not a lot of women are comfortable in their own skin. And it's not our fault. It's because of the way we were brought up in society. It's because of the way we were raised. It's because of the way we are programmed to be. We're programmed to not really like ourselves. And we're also programmed to be very submissive very passive, very pushover. And so when you're not that, when you come across in the world as confident, sure of yourself, you like yourself, you're outspoken, you know, you do all these crazy things, you're a free spirit, whatever it may be, it's seen in a negative way sometimes. It's taken as a negative thing. People might really judge you. People might really think that you're just out of control, you're messy, you're not professional, you're not mature, you're not all of these things. And it's like, no, you actually just found yourself. You actually just found yourself. You actually just know who you are. You're actually just confident. You like yourself. You know who you are. You're comfortable being in your own skin. So I feel like as women, sometimes it's hard for us to speak up because a lot of the time this is something I've experienced a lot, where I speak up to men and they just laugh. They think it's a joke. I can't tell you how many times people have looked at me and laughed when I'm being so serious. So it's like a lot of sexism. You know, I've dealt with a lot of sexism as a woman. And I'm not saying, you know, I'm just kind of touching on this like when it comes to being a woman, but like not to say that this isn't like a struggle for everybody, right? But I'm just speaking from like my personal experiences. Not to say that like if you're another gender, you also don't experience people laughing in your face when you are very serious, okay? But I'm just saying like as a woman, I think that's something that we struggle a lot with. Or it's like you having a voice or like you saying certain things, like people just like don't get it. Like people think you're kind of like weird, or people are taken aback because you have a voice and because you actually use it. And I think sometimes people take that and they like to shame women for that. They like to shame us for speaking our truth. They like to shame us because we actually know how to stand up for ourselves now, because we actually know how to be independent now, because we can do a lot of things on our own now. And I think that's building a lot of confidence like within us. And I think if you're a woman with that kind of confidence and you deal with certain people who are sexist, it's not always fun. These people will laugh in your face. So like so basically what I'm getting at is it's like very common for women to retract and think, oh, well, why should I speak up anyway if people just laugh in my face? Why should I speak up about my opinions, about how I feel, if it's never taken seriously anyway? And so like, that's something I like struggled a lot with. You know what I mean? I struggled a lot with like not being taken seriously because I'm a woman. I kind of found my way through that. And that's by me just kind of coming off even stronger and more intimidating. Like, I think that I have found kind of like a loophole to it. It's just literally being even more of a bitch. Like literally being even more of a fucking bitch. Like I say bitch, it's not like I'm like a bad person or I'm like actually a bitch. But if somebody disrespects me, I'm gonna let you know you disrespected me. And if you laugh in my face, I'm gonna come back 10 times stronger. I'm gonna bite back instead of retracting. I think that's what like a lot of us do at first, or like at least this is what I did, where somebody would laugh in my face and I would just retract. I would just take that as a fail, if that makes sense. But that's not a fail. That just means, oh, okay, you're gonna disrespect me even more now. Now I'm gonna show you who you're fucking with. Now I'm gonna show you who you're actually fucking talking to. And even me talking about this, like in talking in this way, I know that there's certain people that watch my videos, and it's actually kind of crazy. Like I know there's certain people that watch my videos, and there's also certain men that watch my videos that look at the way I speak and they still take it as a joke. And it's like, whatever. You can have that perception. You can think whatever you want to fucking think. I really don't care. But at the end of the day, I know who I am. And I know that if you were to come up to my face and say some shit, I would 100% bite back and you would regret that. I would end up making you retract. And that's the thing, is you have to let go of the shame and the guilt that comes with that. You have to let go of the shame and the guilt that comes with being a woman or just anybody that speaks up for yourself, okay? If you were somebody that grew up in an environment where that was kind of frowned upon, or if you grew up as a woman where speaking up for yourself was foreign, you need to realize that it's not foreign. It should become something very normalized in your life. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. Speaking up for yourself is nothing you should ever be ashamed of. And I don't know like why that ever was taught or ingrained into my mind or other people's minds, that speaking up for yourself is something you should feel guilty about. It's not. And yeah, sure, you're gonna make other people feel some type of way, but that's the point. If somebody disrespects you, if somebody plays in your face, you should make them feel some type of way, because then they'll never do it again. You can't just keep letting people do certain things to you and then not doing anything about it, because it's gonna continue and it's only gonna get worse. worse. It's gonna snowball. So you need to get over that fear of speaking up. You need to get over the fear of, oh no, but what are they gonna say? Are people gonna like me? Are people not gonna like me? All these things. Like, literally just speak up for yourself. I made it to this point in my life where I'm like, I don't care if somebody doesn't like me after the fact, because the fact that I am respected is more important to me. And that brings me to my other point of confusing being respected with being disliked. I used to have this perspective that, like, if I was kind of standoffish, if I was more serious, if I was a little bit more of a person that bit back, I had this perspective that, like, people wouldn't like me. I thought it was either respect or being liked. If you have that perspective, I want you to get that out of your mind completely. I learned over time you can be respected and also be liked. I think that I was just looking for the wrong people to like me. I think that people that don't like you, if you demand respect, are the wrong people to be around anyway. So yeah, if you do demand respect, there might not be some people that like you, and that's okay, because those are the people you don't want to be around anyway. You know what I'm saying? But the right people that do end up liking you, it's gonna form a healthy relationship with you and those around you, and it's gonna help you attract the right people actually into your life. When you demand respect, when you put respect before being liked, you know, when you show people, hey, these are my boundaries and I stand by them. Hey, if you cross me, I'm gonna speak up. Hey, if you do XYZ, I'm gonna tell you how I feel about it. If you keep these boundaries, if you keep these rules with yourself, and people see that, and you have connections with certain people who are like learning this about you, whatever, they're going to respect you. And some people might actually like you more because you're that type of person. Like, you never know. Like, I think that was such a skewed perspective that I had. It was either respect or being liked, because that's simply just not the case. I think that a lot of people that like to take advantage of us or use us like us to think that it's either being respected or liked. A lot of people that want to use us, they want us to believe that if we start respecting ourselves, they're no longer gonna with us, but that's simply because they want something out of it. They want to benefit from you, and the only way they benefit from you is if you don't respect yourself. So when you do actually respect yourself and you put respect before being liked, you're going to attract actually healthier relationships, healthier connections. And there's people that are going to still like you, okay, but they're also going to respect you. You can have both. Something I kind of struggled with was thinking I was being too mean, being too standoffish, but I really like switched that in my personality at some point this year, where I just decided to be a little bit more cold, like in a healthy way, you know, just not be as open. I decided to like stand on business more, just respect myself more, carry myself in a certain way, right? And I think I like had this belief that I was being too mean, I was being too standoffish. I worried that like other people like were gonna be like too scared of me, or like all these things. Yeah, some people are scared of me, some people are intimidated by me, some people don't always like the fact that I stand up for myself, that I bite back, but that's something that you kind of have to just like accept and deal with if you want to carry yourself in this way. If you want people to take you seriously, if you want people to respect you, you kind of do have to put up with that. And it's not in an unhealthy way. I kind of do have the perspective that like if some people are a little intimidated by you, if some people are a little scared of you, I do think that's a good thing, because it means they respect you and it means that they know you don't play. And at the end of the day, I think that's always like really, really important. And I think that is more important than being liked. It is also very important to get rid of this idea that, oh, I need to be liked. I can't be rejected. Everybody needs to like me. Not everybody's gonna like you, and you need to accept that. I'm basically gonna wrap up this video by saying this one last thing that I really have realized and learned. At the end of the day, do you want to please somebody else or yourself? And if you're a people pleaser, you're always gonna choose the other person, right? If you're somebody that struggles with standing on business, keeping those boundaries, taking yourself seriously, all these things, you're gonna choose the other person 9 times out of 10, right? Okay? Or if you struggle to stand up for yourself and you're encountering some kind of situation where somebody is disrespecting you, or somebody's doing something that you don't like and you're not doing anything about it, it's really important that you change this. It's really important that you change this about yourself, and I'm gonna say why. It's because you don't go home, unless this is somebody that you like live with or whatever. At the end of the day, you do not go home to these people. You go home to you. You sleep in the same bed as you. You're in the shower with you. You go to work with you. You drive in the car with you. You do everything with you. It's you and you. You have to live with you more than you have to live with these people. Do you want to live comfortably within yourself, or do you want these other people to live comfortably at your expense? You know, this is something somebody told me, I think like a year ago or so. They said, I always like to act in a way where I'm speaking up for myself, where I'm standing up for myself and I'm having people take me seriously because I know when I go home, I'm gonna like myself more. I'm gonna like myself more. And that's a really, really big thing. You're gonna like yourself more. This is about you. And I wanna make it very clear, this is nothing about the ego. This is nothing about, oh, these people need to respect me. These people need to take me seriously. I need to be seen in this kind of way. No, it's about you. It's about you going home to you and you liking who you see in the mirror. You having a good relationship with yourself. You laying in bed at the end of the night and not worrying about if you have your own back or not. Because I'm going to tell you right now, say for example, someone disrespected you at work and you didn't say anything about it. I'm going to tell you right now, when you get in the shower later that day, right? When you go to bed that night, you're going to be thinking about that and it's going to be eating you up, right? But if you actually chose to do something about it, if you chose to stick up for yourself, say something, do something about it, whatever the situation is, if you choose to do something about it, if you choose to act, if you choose to take yourself seriously and have other people take you seriously, you will be more at peace in life and more at peace with yourself because you go to bed at night knowing that you have your own back. You go to bed at night knowing that you trust yourself. And you are the most important person to be trusting. You and you. It's you and you. So that's the end of this video, you guys. I hope you really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed it. Stay tuned on my channel for more videos like this. I'm basically just doing like a lot of videos on advice, okay? Like life advice, because I have so much to talk about. I have so much to talk about. I appreciate every single one of you that stayed to the end of this video. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Like, comment, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you thought of this video. Let me know if it helped you in any way. Let me know your perspectives. I would love that. Go check out my TikTok and my Instagram. I'm gonna link it down below. Yeah, and thanks again for watching, you guys. All right, bye.